Yo! Video games.
Oh, all right. I think we're good, boys.
Hey!
I think we're good. This was not in the movie. It was like period piece, like 60 years before, because this happens. I mean, is this a spoiler? That Alien Romulus happens like right after Nostromo blows up for the most part.
It's 20 years before. 20 years before Aliens. 40 years after the.
Is it 40 years? Okay, so
They showed the timeline on Twitter.
Did they really? I didn't see that.
The timeline is
so
crazy.
they conclude that they've had like 40 years of that plot developing, which is why, like, you know, scientifically, why things like advance so much in that time frame, where it's like, oh, so much period of time has passed. Okay,
Yeah,
so this is why this isn't in, because this is like more advanced. And they have like prototype pulse rifles. Spoiler, you know, there's pulse rifles.
That one has a grenade.
Hey, there was even in
this
the
one has a
trailer.
grenade launcher and other shit on it, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, hi.
Hello.
We finally did what all have demanded us to do.
Yes, jeez.
We are making a sequel to our Alien Covenant review.
Yeah. Single Alien Covenant review.
I'm not here, and here's the only beneficial thing I can say about Alien Romulus is that I am not in absolute despair.
Yeah.
It's better than Covenant.
It's definitely better than
better.
Covenant. I think it's better than Prometheus.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think it's better than Alien Resurrection. And I think it's better than, it's more, I'd rather watch this than Alien 3.
Yes.
You know, so I think, you know, just from my perspective, we like made an Alien movie because I fucking love aliens. You know, Aliens is a huge part of my childhood, and we made an Alien movie like almost 8 years ago. We watched it. That should go up on the channel, by the way. You should put that on YoVideogames, us reviewing our own fucking
watching
footage.
it? Nice.
So, I think the expectations going into this, for me, astonishingly low.
Okay.
So, which is why I think I might have liked it a bit more than I was expecting to.
Yeah. I knew a lot of what was going in, and I was, still super like, ugh, on this movie going in.
Yeah. So, what'd you say, Simmons? So, I think, yeah, we'll just, because there's a lot of spoilery shit that's definitely worth talking about and interesting compared to like where they took this story.
Yeah, I mean non-spoiler, it's beautifully shot.
Yeah, so just speaking from perspective, I'm gonna say my review is I kinda liked it.
Yeah.
Like if I was to, I would not give the movie like an 8, which seems like a solid review. Yeah. And I think like maybe something around like a 7-ish.
Yeah.
To me, it's like a B to a B minus, you know. But in just for comparison's sake, Prometheus is like a C. The only interesting thing is that it has intrigue.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and that's it. Once the intrigue is gone, it's kind of like, okay.
Which, being so far into a franchise, this movie doesn't have intrigue.
Yeah, I know. And that's
like you know, it's called Alien Romulus. There's no. It's not scary.
It doesn't tread any insanely new ground.
No.
It tries to at one point.
Yeah.
So, but just for comparison's sake, Covenant was like a D minus. Like I really don't like that movie.
That's the one.
Covenant was some bull.
It's some bullshit.
With the two, he's like, yeah, just put your lips in blow.
Yeah, and that was actually the best part of the movie
because it was just
put your lips on and blow.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do the
pushing, you do the pulling.
you do the pulling, sucking, you blow.
So I definitely don't like Alien 3 too much. It's just a very dour fucking film. It's like a hard to watch movie. And Alien Resurrection is a so bad it's kind of good situation where it's just bonkers, right? So yeah, long story short, this is the third best Alien movie, straight up. And I don't even think, even if you don't like this movie that much,
it's probably
it's easy to give it that nomination because of a lot of other elements outside of like some individual things that we might have gripes with. It's gorgeous. The music's great.
It looks good.
It looks to give credit for being an $80 million movie, which is what Steve told us in a text. And it already made like $100 million over the weekend, which is fantastic. As I want success for this, so that it allows the creators to do more interesting things.
Unfortunately, with the way Hollywood, it's got to get to like $250 now.
You know, and I think it will get that like worldwide. I think the movie also has a decent enough word of mouth where it'll get that. Yeah. But this movie being made for $80 million is fucking psychotic.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I see some points where they obviously. We'll talk about it, like CGFX or CGFX, where they had to compromise and save a bit of money and couldn't go like the Disney route.
There's obvious models too.
Oh,
There are obvious shots from
I love it.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, I don't get how this movie was so cheap to make, 80 million cheap.
Well,
But by comparison's sake, for a scale film of this size with that many sets and that much effects shit, that is really surprising. This movie it has so many wild set pieces that are just like, Jesus, dude, this is this was made for that much money. It's shocking to me.
there's been a few films recently that are made really like low budgets and then just,
The sci-fi movie you talk about all the time, that isn't that great, but it looks amazing.
yeah, the one about the AI.
Yeah.
That it was like, damn, that one is like, you see that movie and you're like, a movie looks like a $200 million
Yeah.
movie.
They're getting creative, and that's the thing is that,
creative.
okay, so yes, obviously, the same thing in the games industry, same thing in the film industry, you can't just throw money at shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. You just end up spending more money to solve problems.
It's a very low number of cast. Like, the beginning has a ton of extras walking around, but, like,
Yes.
the vast majority of this movie, like, the amount of speaking lines in this film is, like, 10 people.
Not a ton.
Not even,
and to be real, I don't know any of the actors.
No.
They took the predator-prey approach.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, they didn't spend really any money on, like, top-tier talent, on big names. Because
But-
even Alien 1 has some, like, top-tier names in it, if considering the time.
Oh, yeah. But with that said, everybody was great in it.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
I really, Andy, right?
Yes.
Fantastic.
The best character in the movie is the robot. I mean, which is par for course considering Prometheus and Covenant. The most interesting part of the films is the robot. But yes, like Andy is the robot of this movie. Every single Alien movie has to have a cyborg. Cyborg-human relations are like the whole point of the
artificial
story.
human, Max, please.
Sorry.
Artificial human.
And that'll get to the stuff that Simmons doesn't like.
Jeez.
But yes, like the best part of the movie, and actually the crux of the movie is an android, right? The whole point is that is the relationship between androids and people. So if there's one thing throughout a lot of this film, and I'll let you guys talk about what you liked or disliked about it, because I didn't talk about what I disliked. Goddamn, straight, it's absolutely inspired by Alien Isolation. There's no doubt in my mind. Like,
they had Alien Isolation props in the movie.
yes, like, well, that's the thing, like the retro tech. You know, like was what Alien Isolation's idea was back in 10 years ago.
There's a safe point in the film.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah, there's a safe
is there really one of the Sevastopol?
Yeah,
Oh my God,
there's a safe
dude!
point in the film.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
That take, that approach, it's like, I think I'm fine with this because we only did this in the Alien franchise once, and it was an Alien. They never went back to this like retro tech shit, and it feels like we've treaded this water before, but no, that was just Alien Isolation.
Yeah, because even Aliens is only retro tech in the sense that it was made in the 80s.
No, it tries to be futuristic. Yeah,
I mean,
and here's the thing.
But
Alien 1 tried to be futuristic.
yeah,
For the 70s.
Alien 1 is a film inspired by 2001.
Yes. Try to be futuristic for the 70s. Aliens doesn't try to be 70s futuristic. It tries to be 80s futuristic.
Yeah.
Right.
So it just like now we are specifically similar to.
Well, it's very Aliens is very Sid Mead.
Yes.
Because Sid Mead
He's
worked
the
on it,
designer,
right?
yeah.
So
He's the
it's
Star
very,
Wars guy.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So Aliens is very Sid Mead tech, style tech. Blade Runner,
Yes,
of course.
I
He did
did-
Star Wars as well, did he not?
I don't think.
I don't know, but
I don't know
got,
if he was
I
consulted.
got
I don't-
hardcore Blade Runner vibes.
Ralph McQuarrie is the major artist for the original Star Wars. Sid
I
Mead,
remember those drawings. Yeah.
Sid Mead is the futuristic. Sid Mead is what James Cameron basically is very much like. The
Yes.
James Cameron drop shit, the Cheyenne.
Oh, I know.
The APC.
He designed all of it.
The Sulaco, stuff like that. That is all Sid Mead style.
Yeah.
So that's like that 80s
80s
kind
tech.
of like rugged square form factor
Yes.
tech.
Yeah.
Right? Where
He designed the power loader.
yeah,
because
because like in the 70s with Alien, you still had sort of like almost upholstery looking
yeah.
walls, right? A lot of wire.
I described it as like an Apple Future. If we
Yeah.
didn't know what Apple Future actually is, like this is what Wayland Yutani and Alien and this is like what they presumed
Yeah.
Apple
Oh, yeah,
products
yeah.
would have been like way down the line.
Yeah, they're big. The computer in Alien
Yeah.
is a whole room full of light bulbs.
Yes.
That was what
Thinking
they thought.
lights, yeah.
They thought supercomputers, the size of a whole room.
The whole
just
size of a room.
Blinking lights everywhere.
Yeah. And I dig that approach. I think like the fact that they did that I'm cool with it.
I think it was a really good idea. I think that was a very good call because it stuck out like a sore thumb where Prometheus is supposed to be the the end of this century.
Oh, yeah.
Their tech looks like future tech of now.
Fucking wild.
Yeah.
And it looks
There's
way more
obviously
advanced than Alien, which is supposed to be, you know...
Way more advanced than Aliens, which is
Yeah.
also in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that this one was trying to, like... It's trying to be in between those two movies.
You know what I kind of dig about it? It still kind of writes itself in. Where in Prometheus, that was literally Weyland-Yutani inner, where it's like, oh, this is the actual technology they have, not the trucker tech. Not the shit that they would give, like, miners and truckers and shit.
That makes sense. Yeah. That's actually kind of...
But still,
I
like,
didn't think about it like that.
We're on an R&D rig.
Yeah.
A research and development derelict rig in the middle of space. And it would have the most advanced technology, but it doesn't. It still has, like, mother, you know?
Yeah, it has, like, one room that's, like, nice looking.
Yes.
So what do you think overall, Kenny?
No, yeah, overall, I loved it. It was gorgeous. Like I could, you know, like, it was 80 million, but it felt like this humongous budget. It was, like, it said, gave me vibes of, you know, just... Dude, what was it? Not Cyberpunk. We were just talking about it.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, yeah.
Yeah.
Super
Especially-
Blade Runner
especially
vibe.
the-
There's a
very,
portion of the
very,
film where it's
very
like,
beginning.
wow, I'm really shocked that we're starting out like this.
Yeah.
And that was
This
actually
is
one of my
cool.
favorite things, aspects.
It reminded me of like the deleted scene from James Cameron's Avatar shit, where it's like you start
Right,
on Earth and it's
right.
like, well, this is really interesting.
Yeah,
But they cut it.
I'm still kind of like baffled that they did that for
Yeah.
that movie, but it's almost.
I wanna see
But
that.
that's almost kind of like almost genius in a way because of the movie wakes up in hypersleep. It's like it's like a touch of like. I'm
keeping you in his eyes.
reintroducing you to 3D.
Yeah.
So when the screen comes on, your eyes are waking up and adjusting to this whole visual different medium.
And you understand completely why that cut was made.
Right.
Damn.
So, but I did miss it because I actually think it contextualized a lot
Yes.
of the main character. But boy, is that James Cameron movies.
Yeah.
like so often some of the most I feel massive important character development moments somehow don't make it in the initial theatrical cuts.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes.
Like Ripley's daughter out of Aliens. Like how could you cut that out of the movie?
So is there anything you didn't like about it, Kenny?
I'm trying to think, like, yeah, I mean, to me, yeah, it seemed like just like an Alien's greatest hits. It's almost like, hey, you know what?
My biggest argument.
You know, where it's, you know, but I think with an Alien movie, that's what you're gonna get, right? Like
And I think there's an excuse because yes, I called it like insert graphic here. Now that's Alien instead of like now that's music, where it's just like, hey, we're just gonna pick the best tracks from all these other films, and it's like, yeah, the only thing they didn't have was I won't talk about that. But yes, it definitely does that.
I'll have to say, like, I like how it ties a lot of things together in the Alien universe, and even some of the other films that I didn't.
It does, and I don't want that's a bit spoilery, but it definitely
I won't
tries.
say it, but until later, and that's what I start to like about it. I'm like, oh, that's why this and this and this. I'm like, oh, okay,
I almost
cool.
appreciate that a little bit.
But to me, it really feels like this team did their homework.
Yeah, it does.
really make it feel...
it definitely. I got the intention that they really gave a shit.
Yes.
It definitely felt like overall, like from a directorial standpoint of what they wanted to pull off here, they wanted something that, you know, tries to be a little unique at times, but really comes off as an homage. And it's like, you know, but at the same point, Alien is only the most interesting when it's unknown. Like, when you really start to get into, like, you know, we don't know what the fuck is going to happen.
I think what you're kind of saying here is the film's biggest strengths are some of its biggest weaknesses.
Yes, 100%.
At the same time.
100%. I think so.
And I would say things kind of move really
Which is why I
fast.
don't hate it. Like, I don't love it, and I don't hate it.
Yeah.
So I think I would say things then move really fast. It's like it's kind of big world building, and then when the stuff happens, it's just like okay, boom, really fast.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
like,
just moving now.
Yeah. So
I think I know
overall,
you felt the same way. Like now that's Alien is like really apparent to you from like most of the film.
Yeah, because here's the funny thing. There's a callback in this movie that's a line from just the special edition of Aliens. Director's cut of Aliens.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you caught it.
If you tell me what the line is, I'll immediately
20%.
Oh.
You know, ammo kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
They start saying that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, even that, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm like,
That whole scene is...
how many people know about that? That's technically the director's cut of the movie. Like, it just pulls from everything in a way where it's just like, hey, that's Alien.
It does, and it's at times it is like I agree some of the coolest parts of the film, and then at other times it starts to tread along the lines. You know what? And I guess we should just get into spoilers because overall it's like. Kenny pretty much liked it.
Yeah.
As an Alien fan, I think it's the third best Alien movie.
Yeah,
I actually think it's worth seeing.
Yes.
I think it's in
In
that
the
like
theater.
7
Yeah.
or lesser
I agree,
range.
but I feel like I'm a happier 7 than yours.
Yeah.
Well, because the thing is, it's kind of goes back to it's the sort of like greatest strength, also its biggest weakness.
Yes, yeah.
And for me, the biggest thing for me about the movie is like, I think you can make an Alien movie. I think you can make an authentic, honest Alien film without having to ape so many lines and camera shots.
Yeah, dude.
Where it's like you can stand on your own 2 feet and not have to repeat lines.
It's the exact same
and cinematography from the old.
It's like
movies.
the same shit of the Beetlejuice movie, which is why I'm not super excited for it.
Yeah.
It's because I watched that trailer and I was like, oh, we're doing this.
A lot of the beats.
And I feel like, and I started to think from like a directorial, from a product standpoint, they're like, okay, so this is Alien for Zoomers. Right,
I guess.
So they effectively will put in stuff for like old school fans, like people that are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 130 years old. And then they'll also try to make a film that will be appealing somewhat at least to like a generational audience that is like in the early 20s.
I think the cast too is also very
100%, and that's what I mean.
very much made for a younger audience.
Yes, or people that are like 20.
Oh yeah.
And it's not a problem to have young people in your movie at all. It's not.
No.
It's just
But
that,
it
like,
seems very intentional here.
right, yeah, because Alien 1, they were people in their 30s,
30s to 50s.
Yeah, 30s to 50s in Alien.
Yes.
And they were truckers.
Yes.
You know, and then the second movie is they're a bunch of grunts and meatheads and corpo sleazebags.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit
This
of
has
rock.
the youngest cast of
Yeah,
any by a lot.
it's old people in 3. It's old, kind of old people except for Winona Ryder.
It starts to make me sort of like think of like slasher movies. The way slasher movies get made is that you hire cast members that aren't super expensive to give them a chance to put them on the big screen to do something and they can actually get a career going and shit, which is a great thing. It sort of reminds me of that, the way we approach modern horror movies to get horror movies made. That's where you save a lot of money.
And they probably could have done it too, because they're like, they didn't need like, well, you know what? Let's let the horror and the aliens be the big star, and we can go. And
this movie definitely tries to do that.
Yeah.
Like, to be real, this movie definitely tries to put the alien and its weird existence, its weird bioorganical existence on like front and center page, and we get like a lot of it. But to the point where it's like not mistreated. I don't feel like the alien stuff in this is mistreated, even when it gets to weird territory.
It's not. This is like where
you know when it's mistreated, fucking Resurrection.
Yeah,
that's what I was going. I was just about to. I was literally just about to bring up Resurrection. I'm like, you know what? It's kind of like with Resurrection,
but it's done well.
It was like dumb,
yes,
and like schlocky,
yeah,
and kind of like almost knew it was.
Guys like kissing the alien,
Brad Dourif
like
kissing,
like fucking the Lord of the Rings dude. Oh, beautiful baby,
you're beautiful. Oh my god, yeah.
It's like Sigourney like falling into the alien sex pit. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And I'm just like, this is a disservice to aliens now. Now this is like
Resurrection is a categorically like stupid film.
Yes.
It feels like it, but you can kind of argue it almost kind of knows it is.
So, and I think that's kind of a good call. I mean, not story beat for every single way, because obviously we move away from Ripley. Like, we actually, thank God, like, let the chick rest. Yeah. So, we move away from the Ripley story arc completely here, to a certain degree. And this story is completely unique characters going through a similar turmoil. However, that turmoil ain't that much different than Alien Resurrection. No, to be completely honest,
there's a lot
of similarities to Alien Resurrection.
It's like if Resurrection tried to take itself seriously.
And that's what I kind of get out of this. Like, this is sort of like Alien Resurrection, but I kind of like it now. Like, and this, because one of the big So let's get into spoilers right now.
Yeah,
because we all still kind of think, I still think you should go see the movie. If you're an Alien fan, you should definitely go see it.
I think if you're like hesitant, matinee it.
Yeah.
No, just do it on Tuesday, cheap Tuesday.
We saw it on a nice Dolby, and it was a gorgeous film.
Yeah, gorgeous.
It is
good
gorgeous.
Fucking shots and sound design. Oh my god, it was so Alien. I loved it. I loved it.
Good theater movie.
It is. It's a great movie.
So yeah, for sure.
Jesus, what was I just about to say? God damn it.
About Resurrection.
Yeah, so like the plot of Resurrection is essentially like get from one part of the ship to the other, like sort of thing. It's the same shit here, and get from one part of the ship to the other because that ship is an R&D ship that is making weird fucking aliens and shit, and then shit goes bad. It's the same story.
And since we're in spoilers, it literally ends with a fucking humanoid.
Yes, and then it ends with a weird hybrid alien, humanoid alien. But instead now that hybrid humanoid alien kind of makes sense because they are they're wrapping a bow on the fucking
the goo,
on all the Prometheus shit, all the goo shit. They essentially tie that up, so that story finally is complete. Yeah. So we don't get like the David of Journey adventure.
Yeah. I was almost shocked David didn't show up at some point.
Yeah. Well, almost, especially with the other android from Aliens.
Right. They had to drag the poor corpse.
The corpse of Bilbo Baggins?
Yeah.
The poor digital corpse of Ian Holm.
Yeah. And
was that the
put him on display.
That was my CG thing.
That was your CG.
So, and here's the thing. There was obviously Rook, who is the android, which is also like a research android that is from Alien 1. So he comes back because they just look alike, right?
I feel like okay, if I want to get nitpicky here, I feel like that's a weird, stupid decision to drag Ian Holm back and like he's like this super
because it's an alien. They're trying to like the movie's the closest to Alien 1,
right? But it's like. Okay, remember Ash was on the ship with truckers.
Yes.
Like, he was not necessarily, like, the super important, like,
this is a good point.
Bioweapon lab thing.
He's just a guy.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
It was connected to the network at all times.
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, well, I'm overriding my protocol with whatever the hell new information I got. Yeah.
Yeah. And they don't even try to fucking hide the fact of, like, what Rook's doing. Because, like, in the original Alien movie... You think Ash acts in a manner that makes you think he's more sympathetic than Ripley.
Yes.
Because he wants to ignore quarantine. He wants to get Kane on the ship.
Oh yeah.
He
wants to save people.
And like he tries to do everything in his power to save his crew. And it's only like at a very certain point.
It's actually completely in service of the alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he tries to kill Ripley. So it's kind of like here they just drag him out and they're just kind of like he's already kind of like
he's the greatest hit. He's now that's Alien.
Yeah, like hold on, let me reprogram. Let me give you a new directive right away.
Obviously, his facial animations were not like super great. Like he looks pretty rough around the edges, and it's because I see where they. I'm just gonna throw it out here. I think I see where they save money. Remember now that AI is taking over fucking everything. But do you remember 2 to 3 years ago, people were making like facial videos about like Keanu Reeves going to a store and it would be his mouth and everything talking and shit. Yeah. But it was like an algorithm that's sort of designed to emulate faces to make it look like you're talking.
Yeah.
It was that. It was the same shit that we see on Corridor Digital and all that stuff that they were doing like 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It is that technology that we don't see that much anymore, and it's kind of evolved into something else now, which is AI. But I saw it around the edges where it's like, oh yeah, it's doing that shit around the teeth, and it's doing that stuff where it's so it isn't. There's some CG on top of it to polish it up, but that's where they.
Which is where
you could not create like a 100% like Ian Holm. What's his name?
Yeah, Ian Holm.
Ian Holm. You could not create like a super lifelike Ian Holm model and animation and all that shit and facial, like that would have been mad expensive. It feels like that's where our corner was sort of cut. And at some point, like in some shots it was sort of distracting and then I was kind of like fine with it.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think you needed him.
No.
It's like, did Rook need to be Ash?
It was a greatest hits thing.
I'm like, no, he really didn't need to be Ash.
It needed to be Lance Henriksen.
I'm pretty sure he's still alive. He's still around. Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, Bishop's a good synthetic.
Bishop's a good robot.
He's a good robot. Even though they made him bad at the end of Alien 3. Because remember,
they made him into Mr. Utah.
Yeah, like they said, he is literally Wayland's descendant in that movie. So, but no, They did that so that it's him. I know what that is.
Yeah.
You know, and then they did it so he could say the line.
Yes.
Like, they even literally were, like, done with the character.
Yeah.
And they cut away, and they were moving forward with what the action scene that was going on in the movie. Then they had to just, no, wait, hold on, let me cut back to the TV. But
you have my sympathies.
You have my sympathies, you know.
And then it starts that, and I think like some of those parts are the part where I think the greatest hits aspect of it, the Aliens greatest hits, Aliens greatest hits, that got me the most was when she got into the spacesuit.
Oh yeah, I was surprised she didn't start humming "You Are My Lucky Star."
I know,
because it was like, it's so shot for shot what we're doing here.
Yeah. And at that point, I was really, bro, like, and at other parts, I thought it was serviceable. Like the pulse rifle scene is actually pretty fucking cool. Like, let her rip.
Pulse rifle makes that, like I said, that reference where she's shooting all the aliens coming at them.
Yeah.
And the ammo's going down, and he's like, you're at 20% dead.
Yeah, that's kind of awesome.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, well, it's the turret. It's the cut turret scene.
It's the cut turret sequence from Aliens.
Yeah, but they do it in a unique way. It's obviously like the whole point is let's rock, fuck them up, like that. We want that. We want to we can't kill these things. The whole point is that they can't fucking be killed. Let us just kill them. There's too many circumvention. There's too many things circumventing it, and it was a satisfying moment. Like rip into them, dude. So I like.
It was a satisfying moment built on. I didn't like the premise that the aliens are scared of guns.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was
weird. I was like, why would the aliens be scared of guns?
They literally are like, we want our cool turret sequence.
Yeah.
So how do we write in characters having guns when they can't shoot the aliens?
Yeah.
Like, it's, motherfucker, it's our Assist Me joke. We just watched Assist Me, where I, give you a fake gun. The alien doesn't know that.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that. But that's stupid.
Yeah.
Why would the
It is stupid.
Why would the alien be afraid of a gun?
Which is why it was a joke on our part.
Because the guy even gets impaled by a 100-foot-long alien tail.
He doesn't shoot anything.
And then he just looks and repeats Hudson's line. And then
what does he say?
He's like, "Oh, you want some? Come get some, you too." And then, but he doesn't shoot it.
I missed that
because he's afraid to shoot it up there. And then they bite his head. And I'm like,
I missed that.
I'm like, but why didn't he shoot? He was already toast. I guess to save his sister or whatever.
Friends,
But then she's like, I can only hold on for so long for pointing it at them. Like, why? Why are the aliens afraid of guns?
No, they don't see Easter egg. The first Easter egg is when he's playing the Game Boy and he's like, "Game over, man."
Oh.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed some of those lines.
And it was in the Game Boy. He was playing it, and it's like, doo-doo-doo, and he's like, the game's like, "Game over, man." I thought you guys were gonna roll your eyes on that. Now here's the thing. Here's probably
I just heard "game over."
Yeah. Oh no, he said "game over, man." So you missed that.
Yeah, okay.
So now that I hear that, now that I'm here, so here's the thing. Here's why I probably enjoyed it more than you guys, because I like Aliens. I haven't seen it as much as you guys.
It's not nearly as pandery as...
Because to me, I'm like, I haven't seen those films 20 times. I enjoyed them. I've seen them maybe twice or 2 or 3 times, and they're great. But you guys are like, so this is...
Well, the first line of dialogue, they literally have the fucking... water dipping thing.
Yeah, I did see that
at the beginning. I'm like, all right, we're starting it off already. Here's a callback. First shot, let's go.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I heard there were a lot of callbacks in this movie, and I was like, we're starting off with one.
It's a lot. No, it is a lot, and I feel like
but
again,
that's
some of them serviceable. Some of them not.
That's super background. Who cares? Okay, so it has a thing from Alien 1 in it at the beginning. It gives a shit. The opening with the thing turning on is shot for shot the first Alien movie.
Oh, yeah.
When
Mother wakes up.
When Mother wakes up, that's all shot for shot from Alien 1 already.
It wakes up the truckers because they're getting the message,
Yeah. So
I feel like...
that's where I'm just kind of you can stand on your own 2 feet. You don't have to... You don't have to repeat past movies to be your own film.
Yeah, and I feel like some spots of the film would have just been better if we just didn't show that. For example, the beginning of the movie has a very third person view, because we always follow characters for the most part, but it has a very third person view of Weyland Yutani going to the Nostromo wreckage and recovering some.
It's the alien. The alien that ripped the shot out of the
crystallized or some shit? Yeah. Anyway, so they recover the creature. It shows them that process, them breaking it open and cracking open, all the scientists doing all that stuff. And I'm like, man, this would have been so much more interesting if this was like Event Horizon. If this was like Sunshine. Where they like find out about this ship. And then, like, if the opening shot was just like a big long crawl, like a classic space crawl,
Yeah.
and then it shows like a ship going to some wreckage in space, which they do show, and then on the side of that wreckage it shows Nostromo. Cut to our main character.
Yeah.
Don't give any other information about like what's happening.
Well, that's where
because they almost give way too much information, and then by the time we get to the ship, we're like, oh yeah, we know everything's gonna be fucked up in here.
This is where I feel like the film is a little too fan fiction-y for its own good. Because of that opening shot is like the Nostromo, and they found the alien that Ripley blew out of the goddamn airlock.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're gonna go make stuff from it, or whatever.
Or they spent 20 years making shit from it, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But here's where it gets really weird too. If you want to get nitpicky, this film logically from a timeline doesn't really make sense because where did they get 50 billion facehuggers from?
Yeah, they find the way to clone facehuggers.
Yeah, first of all, and like, why did Weyland Yutani decide to go like look through the wreckage of the Nostromo in space when they knew that there was a distress signal on LV-428? And they already knew where the source came from. Why
LV-426
or 426?
Well, because that's in the future still. That's 40 years. But
I mean, like, why would they go all the way out to where the Nostromo blew up when they literally knew they got the signal?
Oh, you mean
from the bone ship.
From the bone ship.
From the bone ship. Why didn't they just go back to the bone ship? And it's like, you know, the bone ship, there were thousands of eggs there, like, you know, as Kane said. But like that contradicts Aliens.
So maybe they did, and maybe that's where they get all the fucking fuggers from.
Maybe.
But
it's like Newt's father finds the bone ship.
Good point.
And then gets.
And it's not like there's no Starbucks there. You know, there's no Starbucks next to the bone ship because Weyland Yutani found it.
Yeah.
At that time.
And
so,
like they had a shake and bake calling there, and they didn't even care.
Yeah.
Initially, they weren't even really sure.
Yeah, it was like nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
Like Weyland built a Walmart next to it because they didn't even realize it was there. They just got a call from some weird mess. Yeah. So yeah, you're right.
Where I'm just kind of like, so Weyland's like
Doesn't make any
well
sense.
aware and has been making a bunch of aliens for like decades. By the time Aliens shows up, wouldn't Burke know about that? Like, why would Burke be like, oh, goody gumdrops, I found more xenomorphs, which Ash calls them xenomorphs, which Ripley's the one who came up with that term in Aliens, technically. When she's giving the breakdown to the Marines in the dropship on the hangar. And she's
Excuse
like,
me, sir. A what? A xenomorph.
So there was weird little like logical inconsistencies there. Almost like that name wasn't coined until Ripley came up with it.
Yeah.
Like 20 years after this movie. So there was just weird stuff like that. We're just kind of that's where I thought David was going to come in.
Oh yeah.
Because the last shot in Covenant was. Like David literally, he had all these little all this saran wrapped face huggers too.
Yeah.
On that ship, and I was like, this is good. Like David's gonna show up. David's gonna be in this lab or something. We're gonna see Michael Fassbender. You know, too expensive.
Too expensive.
And then immediately too expensive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Where it's like, there's a part of the film that like the opening to like the first half essentially. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we never let our characters talk to each other. Like, at all.
That's the weird thing. Because here's a good thing. I actually like the setup a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
I like the mining planet. You see the atmospheric processor there. Nice. That was a nice callback to Aliens in a way that didn't feel like contrived or forced.
No, felt like, it's just in universe.
There's a big atmospheric processor there. They need it because they're on a planet covered in cloud. And then I like the idea that they're trying to steal cryosleep because cryosleep really expensive.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite get why that lady literally got her report, her quota. Where she lethal companied in.
Yeah.
Here's
literally lethal company scene, yeah.
And then she's just like, oh well, like it literally says on the lady's computer transfer eligible. And she's like, the quota's been raised. I'm like, did the fat lady in the toll booth raise it herself? Or was that something or I mean, I'm not really sure why. Like my interpretation was that she said she wanted to transfer to this nice planet, and then she was like,
I'm stuck on this planet. You're
stuck on this planet. I didn't get it if it was something like that where she doubled the quota.
Maybe.
But it's like, that's not really the point. But I like the fact that it was like, okay, you're trapped on this planet, and the company's always like raising the quota.
Yeah.
Right? I like that. I like how they had to we're going to go steal some cryo cryopods
Get the fuck
from
outta here.
abandoned ship.
Yeah, no,
You know.
their reasoning for wanting to get out of there is sound.
Yeah, and I like that, and I like that there was a dilemma. They get there and they get the cryopods. It's not like a huge ordeal.
And it doesn't have enough for their sleep.
They don't have enough cryo fuel for their sleep.
And
so
then
like,
they don't have to steal the cryo, which is keeping the aliens
asleep. So like, oh well,
pretty cool.
I'm like, okay, we got to go get more crowds. I'm like, this is actually a good setup. This is actually very good.
What are you gonna say, Kenny?
Yeah, no, I think Elysium does that better when it's like he's just trying to live and he's like, he's at work. Because that just seemed like, it's
Similar
right
story.
now. Yeah, similar kind of story in Elysium where he's just like, no man, I could work here because he needs the money, and you could just see kind of similar thing how just corporations like don't give a fuck, you're grunt on the wall and shit that. So I kind of that gave me Elysium vibes, but also just kind of like went fast. Also, Andor does it better, where you just kind of like really like. When he's just minding his own business, and the Empire's like, "Yeah, man, no, fuck it."
He gets fucked over because of
So
just not even for being who he is.
Yeah.
Just because the Empire fucks you over.
Yeah.
It was. I agree. Yeah. And I feel like the majority of like the beginning of the movie, I really thought it was interesting what they did with Andy, where it's he got upgraded. But it also was like corrupting him because it became company property or more company property.
Because they found him like defective in a trash pile, and her dad rewrote the code on him.
Yeah.
You know, for her to sort of like be like a little.
And I get it. Andy's her parents. Like that's why she can't let go.
And I like that.
And it's good. And it's like I get it. Yeah.
Which is why Andy's the best character. The problem is that the other 4 characters
are great.
You just don't get enough time.
You don't get any time with them.
You know, like
no time to sympathize or really dislike them. They make one obviously such a piece of shit.
Yeah, one guy's a real POS, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like okay, we want you to not like this guy. The other people are kind of just
there's no time. Yeah.
There's no time to do anything with them. Yeah.
You know, we make a very obvious pin where like for the end of the movie. Because, this girl's like, I'm secretly pregnant, don't tell anyone. I'm like, this will come back and haunt you.
Exactly. Like that character's whole character was that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
That was literally her entire story, because it has to tie into a plot thing later on. You know?
And then the other character had pretty much nothing to do, the pilot. So they had her find an X-ray torch just so she could use a
cool prop
a few scenes later, which by the way, apparently in this movie, chest bursters take about 10 minutes.
No. Yeah, so the alien gestation cycle is all fucked up. And I feel like I give it a pass because like the alien goes from being this big to that big in 15 minutes.
Exactly. That's what I meant. Things are too fast.
Way too fast.
Way too fast.
Where it's like, okay, and they only do that to expedite time because there's like 3 days or something, 36 hours before this whole space station crashes into the rings of Saturn, whatever. Yeah. But then it gets elevated because when they get there, the ship crashes and it throws them off course. Now it's 30 minutes or some shit.
Yeah.
So it's like an alien is born and then is wreaking rampage within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, and it grows, like, it's like, whoa. Okay.
And it did this weird thing where it made itself a cocoon.
So that I actually like. I think giving the alien like, okay, so why does the hive exist? It has sort of like a caterpillar metamorphosis cocoon.
Yeah.
Where it grows really quick or something. I'm like, okay, so they're writing things in that I kind of appreciate.
Yeah.
Yep.
I felt it was also a callback to the deleted scene from
Alien 1. Yeah.
Which, with Dallas, which I was like, I feel like this is kind of like trying to bring something about a bit of that back.
And that's what this film does. Like, it brings a lot of that stuff back. The goop, the thing you said like that.
Yeah.
But what I like, too, like when it really made me think it was move fast because like when you see Alien, that scene happens, the face hugger, and then
they take a while.
Yeah, and it recovers, and like hey, they're just back and eating. They're like, oh shit, okay.
It was on his head for like 3 days in the original movie.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, that was fucking weird. Hey, but you're good now. Yeah, you're good. Okay, and like then they're fucking. It's a normal thing. Here, there's none of that. Get scooped 15 minutes later, born and stuff like. There's not really that shock.
That is a thing that has like frequently happened throughout every Alien movie. Anything
it gets
is
faster.
that we have to speed up. We need a xenomorph, bro.
Yeah.
Burst out of that shit.
Yeah.
And have it grow up really fast too.
Yeah.
Just to be pedantic, it looked good, that first chest burster, but I think the Stan Winston chest burster in Aliens is still the best looking one. That comes out of the colony lady.
Oh, because it's a mega puppet.
Yeah, it's a mega puppet in the hands.
Yeah,
in the hands moving.
It's literally a giant sock puppet. So it's like it has this full range of motion. It's way more violent and shit. It actually looks like it could bust out of somebody's chest.
Yeah.
This one was 100% supposed to be an homage to Alien 1. It even has the tail curled around it and shit, and it comes out of the tail like a dick coming through foreskin. Yeah. So
didn't they only have one shot, if I remember right? Because they torch the puppet.
Oh, they actually torched the puppet, yes.
Yeah, they actually torched. I think there was they have one shot to do this.
Yes.
Because if we F this up, we can't build
the puppet.
We can't build another one or something. We don't have time.
That version was actually piloted without a dude. Yeah, so again, one thing I have to also give the movie credit for, there are very few scenes in the movie where there are actually CG Xenos, and the part where there is CG Xenos is not insanely obvious.
Yeah.
We don't show them cooking it and running at people like that.
They avoided a lot of the dumb shit Covenant.
100%. They avoided a lot of the dumb shit that has been in every Alien movie since Aliens. Alien 3, they didn't know how to shoot the fucking alien most of the time. They made a dog costume because they didn't know what the fuck to do. Alien Resurrection, same problem. You see too many fucking aliens swimming around and shit. It's like, okay, this looks bad. I got to give this movie mad credit. They shot xenomorphs and facehuggers pretty well.
Yeah.
So I got to give them mega credit. That has not happened since Aliens.
It's true. They even had the scene where they mimic them crawling along the ceiling in the hive.
Yes.
Yeah. And stuff like that.
Yes. So the aliens, the xenomorphs, even when they're getting, there's obviously a scene, the acid scene in 0G that has some obviously CG effects in it. But it's not terrible. And most of the shots of the aliens actually getting blasted are actually pyro on costume. I was like, yeah, this is how they did it back in the day, too. This is how James Cameron blew up some costumes. And fucking just full of goop and just blah, they go fucking fly. They actually did that. I was like, cool, dude.
Yeah.
So I didn't even realize that because I was... the Xenos are very believable.
Yeah.
I
love it.
I think it all goes back to, because again, this is the best looking, and part of the reason why it's the best looking is it feels like they really went back to the original techniques.
Yes, they literally went back to the OG, the way you shoot aliens.
Yeah, with models.
With models, with physical props.
Yeah, like you're saying, squibs maybe.
Oh yeah.
For the aliens. Stuff like that.
For sure.
But it takes me back, and you could say that because we actually shot our own Alien movie.
We stole the same principles when we shot that.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is one of the kind of times where we can kind of review a film because we made our own film of it.
We literally made our own
that.
Alien movie. And shooting in similar fashion, a lot of aliens are getting blasted when you show.
And and if we weren't in the scene, it was me and Simmons holding their lights, or me and Steve, and we were holding lights at different angles, getting the right angles.
Because it can't be
holding
too
the
lit.
alien head, holding the tail.
Yeah.
I think wagging the tail at one point.
And this thing is pretty kind of plastic looking, but we got we had to wet it.
We had to wet the bitch. Yeah. We had to lube it up. Yeah, literally.
And then I kind of made me appreciate watching the film because I'm like, okay, it looks like they're doing
the same shit.
Yeah,
and it's like, and that's where I think I have an appreciation because it feels like they gave a shit.
Yeah.
And it felt like it got a bit too homage-y and a bit too pandery at times, and other times it felt okay. Where it's like, okay, this is I feel like we're retreading Alien here. I get it. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. But then it goes into Aliens.
Yeah.
And then it goes into Alien Resurrection. And then it goes to Prometheus. And then it goes to Alien Resurrection. The only thing we don't really cover is Alien 3.
What's the cover?
Yeah.
Because exactly. Yeah. There's not much to retread there.
The most they covered was the fact that they confirmed the alien DNA combines with the toast.
The planet that she wanted to take Recluse on could have been made of wood. That would have been smart.
Yeah.
Because that was the wood planet was the original story of Alien 3.
Yeah.
Before it became a prison.
It was going to be a planet of monks.
Yeah. Yes, it was a wood planet.
Yeah, a wood
That would have been crazy. It's a planet made of wood.
that would have
been mega deep cut.
That would have been a weird mega deep cut.
That only me and 5 other people would have potentially gotten that. So and I think the way you described it is the best. It is the movie's biggest weakness and greatest strength at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my favorite moments are some of the pandery shit. And then some of my least liked moments, eye roll moments, is the fucking suit up scene and the fucking the pulse rifle scene where they give each other the pulse rifles and it just gives.
Yeah, that kind of bugs me
Ripley.
because they recreate the scene where Hicks is teaching Ripley how to fire the pulse rifle. And I'm like, that scene's a bonding scene where Ripley and Hicks start falling in love. This one, it's a brother and a sister.
Yes.
So unless you're real into Japanese anime, this, I think you missed the point.
And again,
why that scene was important. It wasn't just to show off, hey, I got a cool gun prop.
And they immediately write out why the characters are even do that, because they're like, hey, so you can't even use those.
Yeah.
And they're like, they don't. We can. What if we point them at them?
Yeah.
Pretty much. And I'm like,
which I was like, what?
And the aliens actually go, whoa.
Yeah, the aliens are scared of the gun.
The aliens who are just born are like, chill. like they're getting pulled over.
Yeah.
Like fucking. And I was like,
yeah, the aliens are like, I'm afraid of that gun.
they are literally just writing in pulse rifles to have our let's rock scene. I got it. I get it.
And I did think that too. And I think, you know what? They should have had at least a flamethrower just to like
Something.
scare them off.
Yeah.
Instead of like, you can't shoot these bullets. This thing has a flamethrower and it could last. It's probably it'll just scare them, but that's it. So they could do, you know, and then like, oh fuck,
Which
they
would
run
be much
away.
more alien-like. I don't know why they needed. There should have only been one pulse rifle and a flamethrower or something like that.
Or
Like
that way they can at least scare them instead of just pointing at them.
There were two massive. I think my two biggest things were like, one was like, oh, they had this whole thing about they were trapped in the room where they're getting the cryo fuel.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get the authorization to open the door.
Yeah.
And it won't. So she takes a fire hydrant while they're after.
And just breaks the glass.
Breaks the glass. I'm like, why didn't you just do that? To me?
Yeah, I was like, huh, okay.
Because and then like the glass is shattered, and then a bunch of little facehuggers burst through.
Really,
it.
these little fuckers just burst through it.
And I'm like, okay, I mean that. Okay, so they clearly could have broken through that glass.
Yeah.
You know, so that was kind of like we created tension, and then we literally gave the obvious solution, and then like showed it working, but didn't do it. For some reason. The other one, I don't know if you got this, very end of the movie, when the thing is about to crash onto the rings, it literally goes from a manual to autopilot on its own. And I'm like,
yeah, I don't know.
How did it do that?
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I guess what's-his-face got up, you know, what was his name? Like the android?
Andy.
I thought, oh, Andy must have gotten up and switched it over to
Bleeding out of the
but he wasn't, because the immediate next scene is he's in the cryotube. He's like, I'll fix you. I'm like, how did this ship know to do that?
I felt like,
Well, I think because it was like it was going into normal mode, but then when it said it needed to eject, and it's like, okay, override.
Because it ejected the cargo.
Right.
Yeah.
So you eject the cargo, and so it immediately goes to
yes.
I think they set
autopilot.
They set it up. Yeah.
Did they?
I think that was that's why it fucked up.
Yeah, that's why the whole ship fucked
It
up.
felt weird to me that it like, you know, oh, like I'm gonna go to autopilot now that someone's dumped something off.
So let's talk about the thing that most people will want us to talk about, which is like the Prometheus connections.
Oh yeah,
which I didn't dislike. Again, I kind of wanted the Prometheus story to eventually come to a head in some way that was like relevant. And I'm kind of happy that it does here, and I think it's actually handled relatively well. And then they sort of jump the shark in the end, because this movie has to do the same thing that Alien 1 did, where it's like, it's over, but it's not over.
Yeah.
Alien 2 does the same thing. It's over, but it's not over. Every other Alien movie after that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Every single one.
But also, Aliens was very quick about it, too.
It is. And it gets to it. Yeah, anyway, so pacing is a big thing.
Yeah.
So we get to the point now where it's like, well, a character makes a very dumb decision, you know, at some point, which involves Prometheus shit, which is hilarious, because, like, man, anybody that gets close to this black goo literally loses brain cells.
I was about to lose it, because the pregnant chick gets fucking impaled at some point and dragged away.
Yeah.
And then they find her cocooned. They take her out and saying, oh, we need a cryo sleeper because, you know, she's dying.
Yeah.
And she hangs in there for way too long for someone to
she gets better.
Yeah.
She gets, mega better.
And then there's a point where they're like...
Actually, you know what? I guess there's a reason she gets mega better, because the goop does heal her.
But that's before the goop.
Yeah.
Because when they're like, oh, we need to get her to cryo sleep, and he literally pulls out the goop and is like, rat genome is 25% human, use this on her to heal her. And I was about to lose. I'm like, if you just go along with this, you characters are fucking.
Yeah,
idiots.
she was technically dying on that elevator beforehand. Yeah.
So they don't. So they have they pulled her. They're like, no. We'll get her back to a colony. We'll put her in cryo. We're not going to inject her. Because they had that whole moment where
and then she does it herself.
Where Andy won. But then she does it herself.
She was dying, bro.
She was dying.
Let me put this black goop in. I'm like,
But here's the thing though. You're I'm probably gonna die fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I understood. Like,
well, because she didn't see what they saw.
No.
So when Andy and whatever the main chick's name was, like we're told, like when Andy tells them.
Well, it's actually Rain.
Rain.
Yeah,
Like when he tells her
awesome.
when he tells her to like put the goop in and she's like no, I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Because I was about to lose it. I'm like, Rain, if you do that after all you and your brother have seen, no.
But to be fair, the video they saw the rat get better, and the rat's like, powered up.
We saw the rat.
They didn't see we saw the rat.
I wouldn't trust that dude, either of those android dudes.
Well, at least the character had a brain at some point.
Right, so she didn't do it, which I was happy,
She didn't do
happy
it, but
to
the
see. I
lady's
was
like-
almost about to lose it.
She didn't do it, but the lady, she's like, I'm gonna fucking die. They said this could help
Yeah,
me.
because she overheard that, so she injects
Fuck
herself,
it,
and I'm
yeah.
like, okay.
So, I mean, and that effectively leads into...
Really dumb looking
It leads
monster.
into literally a Prometheus
Promethean
plot point.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole thing in Prometheus where they get infected from the black goop, the red-haired girl, and she's pregnant. That already happens. And I can't remember what the result of it is.
In Prometheus?
Yeah. That already happens, does it not?
Well, there's the thing where she she does an abortion
Oh,
herself.
yeah.
She pulls the tribe.
There you go. That,
trilobite.
yes.
She pulls the trilobite out of her gut.
I forgot about that.
There is a back.
And that is a good scene. That's creepy and fucking weird.
Right, and they kind of try to repeat that Prometheus scene where the chick literally like gives birth.
She gives birth to
an egg,
a weird thing.
and a weird egg with a Promethean, but they have to like show this like. This is where I'm kind of like, this is okay. Like we've avoided the elephant in the room long enough. There's a lot of weird dick shots in this movie.
Oh yeah. No, I was saying it from the fucking trailers.
Like to an absurd degree. Like they even give one face hugger like a porn star size dick when they pull it out of the one chick.
Yeah, it's
and it's just like
it's
it
down
just like keeps going in. I'm like, what the fuck? But
But
yeah,
here's
there's
the
this
thing.
weird scene where like,
Simmons laughed, bro. That facehugger came out and his dick came
she
out.
laughed.
Simmons was like,
I was like laughing.
He laughed, bro.
Because it was so stupid.
The
They had this-
facehugger was like this. Ha!
they have this explosive vagina shot of
Simmons
this
is cracked up.
chick just like, bruh, like she just shoots blood like
Yeah,
it's
oh,
shotgun
no.
explosion
This
out
movie
there.
tries to bring
I'm
back
like-
the weird sexuality of
I'm like,
Alien.
I'm like, that's so. I'm like, it's so corny. Like, just there was the shotgun blood out of her vagina, just,
Yeah.
you know. And then this
also
egg
that.
comes out. I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah, so I mean, I do appreciate them actually trying to tread some new ground.
Right, but then I was like, you know what? I actually think it would have been cooler if he was like the main thing was not just a xenomorph, but like it was a
Because
chick.
he is creepy.
It was a chick who got, the pregnant chick who turned her baby into a weird hybrid, and that weird hybrid is the main thing earlier on in the film that's hunting them because it has like human intellect or something. To me, I was like, maybe they should have done something more like this from the beginning, but then it just kind of, no, we're gonna retread Resurrection's ground here.
Yeah, it's treated for like the queen. It's the final final act.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, oh, so now we have like a weird giant white Promethean Greek dude hybrid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is pretty fucking weird. But also it isn't that weird.
Well, it definitely is more Prometheus or whatever. He has like
Yes.
he has a weird little tongue, looks like a tremor.
Yeah, and he's literally a human or Promethean / xenomorph hybrid.
Yeah.
Right. He's literally he's newborn 2.0
Yes.
from Resurrection. They kind
Yes.
of
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. The resurrection shit comes back.
Yeah.
and they literally just get rid of him the same way.
Yes. They blow him out of an airlock. Yeah.
Literally, shoot him, shoot a little.
Not as
tiny,
comically.
Not as comic. They shoot a tiny hole in the airlock so he gets depressurized and sucked into space, kind of thing. Same deal. But he looked kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I think he looked weird. This is
Yeah.
this is definitely a fucking, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like, and that's where I kind of appreciate it because I'm like,
This is different.
oh, bro, what the fuck is about to come out of this chick?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I want to. That's where I want to
there
be
you
with
go.
an alien movie. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, 'cause
I
then
want that feeling, and then you show it to me, and I go, or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I need. There's like a shock, and then you need to show me the reaction.
Or it could have been that thing comes out and it's actually intelligent and like actually can communicate
Yes.
with the aliens. And
I was
shit like that.
wondering if it was going to start talking or some shit like that.
either talking or just being able to
Right.
like, hey, now
Which
it's
is
like,
actually,
with
which is
the
where
other,
I think they maybe should have gone the whole film rather than
Yeah.
because like it was all about facehuggers and aliens, which we're too familiar with.
yes,
And,
Like-
well, again, it was greatest hits.
Yeah.
It was the greatest hits. That's the whole point.
Yeah, which
of
I
the
feel like
film.
if they had a weird, creepy hybrid monster
from the beginning.
From the beginning, or just way earlier.
But alien hybrid monsters are like also fucking been done a billion times.
Kind of true.
Like the Predator alien and all that shit.
You have a dog
The Predator alien,
you
yeah.
have-
Predator alien, you have a dog alien.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't. It feels like difficult
there's
for
the
these.
weird.
And that's what I like about Prometheus 1. Because
Yeah.
we're just getting into like, oh, so we're talking that the aliens are actually bioweapons, which is why they're so weird and they're so hard to kill and they multiply so fast and all this
Yeah.
shit. They're actually designed by intelligent life to fuck shit up and
because I
wipe
can't
out
remember.
life.
Naomi Rapace, she gets black goo. I don't know, on her, or like inhales it, or something happens to her.
In Prometheus 1?
Yeah,
no,
she
she
has
has
sex.
sex with her boyfriend
Who had the
who gets
goo.
gooped.
Who gets gooped.
She gets
Yeah.
gooped. She has sex with her boyfriend, and that's what
And that's when she gets the baby.
she gets the,
Yes.
the trilobite, and she pulls that out, and then the trilobite face bugs the
Face fucks a Promethean,
at the end, and
which
that
creates an
the
early
cardinal.
like alpha xenomorph.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's called the Cardinal or something like that.
Yeah.
Like the thing that comes out of him at the end of that movie.
Sure.
So
And so yeah, it's weird. And I like that. It's like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is happening? What? Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, dude. So I think that is a big. That's Alien, right? That is Alien
Yeah.
1, where it's like, what the fuck? What's going to come out of this
there's
guy?
a weird insistence on avoiding anything to do with the Queen, and I think that's because Ridley Scott hates the Queen, and he produced this movie.
Well, there you go.
Makes sense.
Makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
he hates the Queen. He hates the idea of the
He's
Queen.
dumb.
Because
Sorry.
remember, his idea was that you have an egg, a facehugger comes out of an egg, it fugs a dude, an alien comes out of the dude, chestburster, and then that guy he takes another human and turns him into an egg.
Right.
He turns Dallas into an egg.
Oh, so okay, so their initial lore that is not really explored is that human remains are turned into eggs somehow.
Eggs.
Yeah.
And
And then Aliens doesn't like that. Aliens, James Cameron is like, so who's laying these eggs?
Right, he just looked at it pragmatically and was just like, well, who lays eggs? Like insect
chicken.
world. It's like you could do chicken or whatever, but he's like,
Maybe these
what
things
if
are
it's
like ants.
like bees.
Like bees. These things ain't ants, but I know that.
Big, man. Right?
That's like the queen. I mean, she's fucking
Which-
big.
If I'm going to take a side, I actually take the side of Cameron because I like the idea that
Because it's
aliens-
logical.
Well, I take the idea that aliens are weird.
Yes.
And they're not human. Ridley Scott has this fascination where he wants to have this weird Jesus philosophical humanity
So
evolution
there's
thing.
weird sex Jesus. There's sex aliens,
little bit.
which is
Yeah.
like Alien 1. And then there's philosophical Jesus weapon aliens, which is Ridley's later vision
Yeah.
of where they go. And then you have James Cameron's idea of aliens. They're bugs.
Yeah.
They're literally space bugs.
Yeah.
So and they multiply and there's a hive. They made the hive, right?
Yeah.
Like the problem is that outside of some of the initial elements from Alien 1, which do carry over to Alien 2, aliens being bugs and having hives and all of that kind of shit are now synonymous. Like, that's the way it works, and it feels like a bit of the Ridleyisms are trying to, like, rewrite that in some
Yeah.
way that's like it didn't like it. So I agree.
Yeah, and that's why I see. That's why there's like no mention of a queen. There is no queen. They make a hive, but they have all the facehuggers. Where are the facehuggers? They're on the ship. Like I
Can't really explain that.
We don't really get a really good, truly good explanation how they got a bunch of facehuggers. It's just kind of
Don't
like
really explain that.
like did they reverse clone them from the alien?
You have to assume.
I guess, kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, I'm more on the side of like I like them being bugs and not human, and I think them not being literally supposed to be like, well, they're our ancestors who made us on Earth billions of years ago, and then when they sent an ambassador back, we crucified him on the cross, so they got really mad. So I'm like, okay, Ridley, what the fuck?
Jesus!
I'm like, you wanted this weird Jesus parable that Prometheus presents, and I'm like, I've never really been on that side. I like, the further away, I just like the idea that aliens are alien.
Yeah.
They're so far removed from humanity, and the human evolutionary chain,
Yeah.
that it's just weird and
that's
gross
the
and
ground that
disgusting
needs to
us.
be explored more.
Yeah.
And that's the part where it's like that happens a couple of times in this movie, and it's what obviously Aliens was, where it's like take the elements and expand it. Like
Yeah.
you can't just sit here one to one, you know. And I guess Alien
'Cause there's-
3 was like, oh, you can bear an alien from a dog. Like that was the most interesting thing.
Yeah,
they did,
and it's
you know?
different.
So it has to be like creative and weird, which is why I give the hybrid at the end of this movie like a pass.
Yeah.
Because it is weird. It's like,
It
oh
is
god,
weird.
what's coming out of this chick?
Yeah, because she shits out an egg, and then there's a baby face, a human face
But
in the egg with an old Promethean face. So you're like, oh, did she make a Promethean?
What the fuck is happening?
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of, I'm back and forth about how I feel about the resurrection baby, where I'm like, I think the idea is cool, but like, it kind of, it copies so much of what happens in Resurrection.
Yes.
To a point that I'm almost like, I mean, he even slaps a dude's head off almost.
Yeah.
Because, well, he does it to the queen in Resurrection.
Yeah.
And he does it to, like, to Andy or whatever. He just sees her and just smacks his neck, almost clean off. But it was just kind of like, yeah, like the whole, like, he gets up to his mother real close, like the newborn does to Ripley in Alien Resurrection. And then he tongues her. He tongues his mom. But which is weird and creepy.
All the beats.
Yeah. But you know what I did really like? I really like the visual of the rings and stuff.
Oh no, goddamn, the space visuals and shit. The art design in the movie in every regard, from the xenomorph designs to everything, is fucking great, dude.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that was like liberty was taken where they made like the face huggers like black for some reason.
Yeah.
And they're really dark colored this time, so I was like, I don't know, whatever. But still, like all of the way things look is Jesus, man. Like the corridors. Like,
they did their homework.
They did their homework. I highly encourage both of you guys play Alien Isolation.
I'll do it.
Speed run the beginning part of the game and just get to the infirmary, the hospital section, and then from that point it's a roller coaster.
And it's like Kenny was saying too. What he really liked is that they made good on the Prometheus plotline with Wayland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
It's just like, I'm like, what do they want with this fucking thing? I don't get it. And there was like other movies that are like, oh, they were gonna make them into bioweapons and like control them with like some concept arts. Have you seen like what
that's Alien Genocide?
Yeah, with Neon Blancs, whatever.
Blanca,
the Moon Camp Alien movie.
That was
definitely treading some comic book territory.
But now you see like, oh, okay, you know what? They're gonna make humans, because this is it makes sense. These humans can't really live in these other things and they die a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, because in Prometheus, Peter Wayland didn't want to die. He wanted immortality, and he felt the Prometheans must know how to be immortal.
Yeah,
and
he wanted to be granted immortality.
Since he's dead and gone, like their whole thing is like, well, humans I like how they had that. It's stupid, but I like at the beginning she sees a coal miner with a canary, which I'm like within a half hour they literally have
Prometheus reference.
Well, they have they have technology that tells them whether or not you can breathe somewhere or not. Why would they be still using tech from the 1800s? Whatever. Yeah. It's a cool visual. It was a cool visual, but like
I think it's just to send a message.
That was a metaphorical symbolic.
Yes. Also, you know what? You know why?
She was the bird.
Here's the thing, and that too. But it also had the scene where like, why doesn't the guy like aliens so much? Oh, because there was a leak, and then they had to lock these 3 humans.
Why is it like robots? Yeah.
Yeah. They pulled the iRobot thing.
The iRobot thing, and it's literally because of the bird. Because then, if the coal miner is a gas leak, so he's like, hey, gas leak. Sorry, these guys got to stay, or everybody else dies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like they gave just enough for the dickhead to be like, why is he a dickhead? This is why he's a dickhead. You're like, okay, I guess.
They don't make him a sympathetic dickhead in any way.
Yeah, and
that's the problem, is that all the supporting cast is just so nothing.
I think that's probably just, honestly, just the biggest problem really is just that the first half is really good, but we don't spend any time with these characters.
This kids have spent no time. There's no time where like Andy and Rain like talk and some shit. Like there would have been a great moment if at some point, because this movie wants to get from set piece to set piece to set piece, like really fucking fast. Where so we got all the set pieces are amazing, but it feels like, as from a director's perspective, they wanted to shove way too much of set pieces. It would have been, I would have just loved it if there was just some period of time where they were waiting for something to happen, and then before going, like they have to set something up. If like Andy and Rain could have been talking, and then Rain or Andy feels bad for Rain or something like that, so he plays some sort of dialogue from her father or something, which is just the dad jokes. Then just the dad jokes. Yeah. Like it would have been great if we got some more connection in some way, because obviously like the dad jokes, I get it, but still like there needed to be some more connection. I think when they were getting on, this is where you have a movie from made now for the Zoomer. Attention. The set pieces are more important. The set pieces are more important because in Aliens, when they get to the colony, it's actually a chunk of time before they figure out where the aliens are, where they are, and then going there, because there's a lot of them just walking. They get there,
then they secure the premise, the premises, and then they're just walking around the lab or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, looks like you found a friend there, Bishop," and he's just like fascinating. The movie's pulling that red herring on you. You think Bishop's gonna totally
Exactly. For sure.
got them
And it
over.
gives time for Ripley and Newt to bond.
Yeah.
She's like, no, my parents are dead. Okay, can we go now?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
don't you think it'd be safer with us? It's not going to make any difference. It's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, what the hell is this kid seeing? Like,
Yeah, so
it's some great moments.
There's a lot of scenes like that, and that's not even counting just them waking up in cryo sleep.
And all
Having
all the
moments with
Marine
all
moments.
the Marines, even if they're not major characters, like characters like Drake, he doesn't get a lot of screen time, but you look like I feel, what, and just like that, and even like the smaller role characters with the cornbread line, which they steal at the beginning.
Fucking,
of the
I was like,
Cornbread. But to be fair, that cornbread is still
it's
in
still
that
Wayland Yutani cornbread.
Yeah, and it's in that Alien game that we play.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but and like with the dialogue, there's something that I wanted to see. I also wanted to see like Andy have a moment with the fucking guy who hates cyborgs, like to save him or just something where fucking he's like. He kind of is like, fuck.
He just stayed a shithead.
Yeah, he's just, stayed a shithead. Like, maybe a couple of times, like, fucking, Andy could have really saved his life and, fucking a moment where he's kind of not a shithead and he's like, okay, maybe these guys are good. Or maybe it's important to realize I'm like, this, but he never had
They
that
don't
moment
really
to
have
realize
any
it.
time for sort of character.
Too many
arcs.
set pieces.
Yeah.
Too many, and the set pieces are really cool
Yeah.
to give them credit, but we have to move our characters from set piece to set piece to set piece constantly.
And and the thing with aliens, you get to see it like even right before they die, like you get to see them have their moment, right? Where I think it was Vasquez, and they're just gonna blow themselves up, and they fucking they're like fuck it, they have their moment.
Yes.
You always were an asshole, Gorman.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then that moment too, they have that, and it's a fucking amazing.
Even when
sad
Burke
moment,
gets iced, he has
Yeah.
his like wonderful like his piece of shit moment where he's like sweating and freaking out and like still trying to make as much money as possible despite all this chaos, and he's gonna find a way to do it, and then he gets fucking killed by one of them, and he's terrified. Like in that moment, I fucked up so bad. Like it's great. We finally get like these characters are going through their arcs, so we just don't get that.
No, yeah.
Right. Well, we get it for Andy and Rain.
Yes.
Rain wants to see a sunrise. She wants to see the sun. She was one of more cloudy days. That's why she's called Rain. It's,
I like the name,
and
though.
Andy, and like they have this little camaraderie. She has a brother, but that's pretty much all you get is that he's her brother. There's her cousin who's an asshole, and we get told why he's an asshole. Okay, that's why he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And there's the pilot, and there's a pregnant chick, and that's their story.
Yeah. Pregnant chick's a set piece for the end, and
Pregnant chick is just to put like
And I think there was a bit too much of that, where it's like, oh, this is here just to set something up.
Yeah.
This is here just to set something up. This is the Pulse Route here just to set something up. And it was. And they have to like almost go out of their way to reason it, to the point where it's like, okay, so this was what it was for.
Yeah. And the pilot chick, she finds an X-ray torch, she puts it on her arm. Oh, I can see inside, and I'm like, oh, gee, I wonder what this will be used for. Yeah. Your purpose in this movie, get us here, and then X-ray a chest burster on yourself. That's it.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's still the third best Alien movie.
Yeah.
By like a long shot.
Yeah, because do you really care about anyone in Alien 3?
No. Deeply no. Do you care about anyone in Resurrection? Deeply no.
Kind of Ron Perlman, just because he's being a goofball. Because everyone's a goofball.
And then Alien, people are sort of deeply unlikable in Prometheus because they're so stupid. Yeah. The majority of them are so stupid.
But then they get dumber in Covenant.
And then they get even dumber in Covenant, and I actually want to see them start dying. Yeah. Like, David is the saving grace of both of those movies,
Yeah.
And here's the thing also, too, where I have to compare it to another movie, but it's going to have to go to, like, Godzilla. And it's a thing where Godzilla, mostly
characters are probably great, right?
The characters are fucking fantastic. In the Godzilla movie, you want to see Godzilla kill. But the characters in this, in Godzilla
you
are
have to actually
so
make it a movie.
great.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, right? And, like, that's the first time I'm, like, in a Godzilla film, I'm like, I don't want Godzilla to
kill people.
I want him to win. I want him to be okay and all this stuff. And this movie doesn't do it as good as that, right? And like that's what you're saying, because these characters need some more time. But like the Alien does it, Aliens does it. But like I said, it's a great film. It's good, but it doesn't have kind of those moments.
Yeah.
It's mostly Rain.
And it's like at the end of this movie, I was like, I don't want to see any of these characters ever again. We're good.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to go to the planet that she lands on, and there's more aliens that show up. Like it's a Ripley situation. Like, please don't do that. Please, dear God, don't.
But yeah, like it's like you said, because like we need a set piece with facehuggers and water. We need a set piece where you're walking through a room that's really hot and you can't make a noise.
You can't make noise with facehuggers.
You gotta walk through a hallway full of facehuggers. We need a 0G hive corridor.
We need a big ship crash scene.
We need an elevator scene to follow the hive and 0G scene.
We need the 0G. Like, there's so many set pieces, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The 0G stuff is wonky.
It's wonky, but like an interesting. I'm like, okay, this is like space puzzle shit.
Right. Well, I don't know if you noticed, like when they fully turn the gravity on, like they get it up and running.
Yeah.
Like there's a part like after that where they're walking down the corridor and there's like a caution sign.
Yeah.
Perfectly standing upright.
Oh.
Like there, and I was like, okay, weird. And then like her hair when she's shooting the aliens are in 0G and her hair is blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, you know what? I don't know what you do to solve this, but yeah, this is something that only James Cameron would probably give much of a fart about. Like
they needed again. We need a reason to blast these motherfuckers.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah,
we want to have our moment where she fucking wastes them.
And it's a cool scene because she has to like swim through the corridor.
It was video gamey to me,
and that's another set piece.
Yeah, and then it's just Yosemite Sam her blast herself away. Rocket propel her away from the goop and from the alien acid and stuff like that. It's cool. I actually think that's a cool little thing. But then it immediately went into another set piece with the elevator.
Yep.
So it was kind of like set piece to set piece to set piece.
Yep.
So it's kind of weird how the I don't know if it's the back half or just back 2/3. Once it gets going,
it just doesn't stop.
It doesn't.
And the movie is just like but I was feeling relatively tense to give the movie credit. I was feeling like tension in these moments where I was like, shit, like
I like the fact that we got to get to this side or we have to go to the hangar now.
Yes, dude,
whatever.
And that is just fucking Alien Isolation,
right?
That's why I
actually got that vibe too.
Dude,
they're like, you need. It has like a little tram trolley thing, a little sky bucket.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, this really feels like Isolation.
Yeah. So that's my homework to you guys at the end of this. I highly recommend if you enjoyed this in any way, play Alien Isolation and deal with the first couple of hours, but like turn off the lights, get some fucking headphones, enjoy yourself.
What Kenny should do is get the mod for VR.
Oh. Yes, because now my PS2.
If you could get your PS2 VR working on Alien Isolation, I dare you to finish that game.
I dare you.
I fucking dare you.
I dare you.
I dare you.
I could do that now because there's the thing it
exists.
Yeah,
it exists.
And it works.
I would not have been able to finish it. Straight up, it's too fucking scary.
Jesus Christ,
that game scared the fuck out of me.
Jeezy, crazy.
It's like yes, but it's predictable and everything. But the way they do it gave me some genuine I'm fucking terrified right now. Where it's like, dude, the most one scene where it passed and I think I'm good and the ween it goes away and I have to get to a door.
Yeah.
And I have to go to the door to enter a password.
Yeah.
Which I learned about 15 minutes ago.
Oh.
And then I'm like, run over there and I get to the door. It's the end of level. Beep, 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 beep. I'm like, what was it? Beep, 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 beep. I'm like, what the fuck was the password? They fucking got me right behind me. I was like, it scared the fuck out of me, dude.
Yeah.
So it's shit like that. It sets up those moments constantly.
Right.
I dare you to play it in VR. I will be restreaming you playing it in VR. I will.
Because here's the thing, man. RE7.
If you're looking for that shit again,
yes,
100%.
Okay, it changed my fucking life.
You need to go play Alien. If you're looking to get fucking scared like that again, Alien Isolation. Give you don't even need to play the first 2 hours without VR.
Not in VR.
But the first 2 hours are very good Atmos setup.
Yeah.
But they're kind of boring.
Okay.
And you're avoiding robots and shit. It's like
I'll do that. Knock it out, and then when it gets to the VR part, because I have the unit now, so I just got to buy the adapter.
Just wait till you have to go to the infirmary.
Yeah.
And then just go.
Boom.
Just go to the infirmary.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
All right. That's it. That's Alien.
It's fun.
Alien.
Romulus.
I was like Isolation Covenant.
Romulus.
It's worth seeing.
It's worth seeing in the theater, and I think
it's a pretty good time. As well. But it definitely has some moments of ugh.
Well, here's the thing too. It depends how big of an Alien fan. If you're mega Alien fans like these two guys, You're gonna be if you're like
if this is
casual.
your introduction to like Alien in
Yes.
general,
I think
you'll
you're
probably
gonna
like
Yeah,
it.
I get. I think when you look at it through the lens,
You'll probably
of
like it.
Hey,
Yes.
if you didn't know or see many of the other films,
kind of a thriller,
maybe
dude.
Yeah.
just the first movie.
Yes.
This is actually pretty good, pretty fun.
Kind of a
And
thriller.
I think that's why it's getting really good reviews right now
It is.
because
It's getting reviewed very well.
Not a lot of people we're seeing those older ones, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
And
casual.
it has
I remember
very
the
good
beats.
word of mouth. When we were doing our Alien Day on YoVideogames yesterday, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's great! You're gonna love it." Like a lot of people were. I was trying to avoid those comments, but to be real, I don't think I loved it, but I think I definitely think it's not bad.
It was very well shot, very well done. The
So much of that I love.
acting
Yes.
is very good.
Yeah.
Like they're not like even though we don't get any time with these characters, they're still well acted.
Yeah.
They do their job well. But the biggest strength, also biggest weakness.
Biggest strength, biggest
It's
weakness.
it's a little pandery for me.
Go see it.
Yes.
Go see it.
Dickhead.